Alright, welcome back to another Why Would You Use. Today is going to be a 2-for-1. I lied in the last video, and they're not going to get separate videos. Today, we're going to be talking about the KORUMM, which really won't take long, and we're also going to be talking about the VERDILAC. So, these are also two new weapons that you can get post-New War. We're not going to talk about spoilers. If you read the description of this whenever we go into the equip menu, if you had knowledge of the quest, I guess it would be a spoiler, but otherwise, I guess it wouldn't. Like, it's really, even if you read it, even if you've not done the quest, it's going to mean nothing to you. So, there's not spoilers here. We're not doing spoiler stuff. Still not doing that. Let's talk about the KORUMM. This is a polearm, just like the Neferi from yesterday's Why Would You Use. This has a unique move that replaces one of the moves in the regular moveset, or stance, of your melee weapon. So we've got like all the regular stuff from Shimmering Blight here, as you're probably used to. And then, if you hold right click and hit E, you get this up in the air slam into kind of an explosion move. Now, here's the TLDR on this weapon. It's going to be real fast. Pay attention. It is fine. You could use it. However, this move sucks. There are it could do anything else. Like the Neferi special move has a bunch of like realistic applications. This one, not at all. And there's absolutely nothing I would like to use this move on. It is super slow and very bad. So that's unfortunate. You hate to see it. In addition to that, I mean, I've messed around with this thing and like thrown some mods around or whatever, and I came to the conclusion that there's no reason you should use this. And the reason that there's no reason you should use this is because if we look at polearms, there's one glaring thing here, and is that the KORUMM is kind of difficult to get, difficult-ish to get at least, and the Guandao Prime exists at all. And it's like purely better. The Guandao Prime has more range, better crit stats, negligibly less base damage, and more slam radius, if that's ever going to matter. And I guess it has worse status, but given every other bonus, that doesn't really matter. And also 20% status is still more than enough to like really apply a good amount of status. So the KORUMM has no reason to exist. It's another polearm. It's there. You can hit stuff with it, but you probably should not. So that's great. Wonderful. Fantastic. Let's talk about the VERDILAC. VERDILAC is a much more interesting weapon. However, it has it has a specific problem that is unique to it because of what it is. This is a whip. We haven't had a good whip for since the whips got nerfed. Since they nerfed the shit out of the Atarax, there kind of hasn't been a good whip since then. So let's talk about the VERDILAC. This thing has high stats. There are not a lot of whip weapons. There's like a relatively short list. Well, there's not a lot of whip weapons that have ever been good. Also, the Mios is a blade and whip, so that doesn't count. I don't know why the Arm Spinoza is showing up here. But the Atarax, as a comparison point, the crit multiplier, not as high, but we have more crit chance. We have very slightly better status. We have significantly better base damage. Very significantly better base damage. And it's faster. Meaningfully faster, I would say. And also, it's a considerable amount larger range. All these things, very good stuff. So, that bodes well for using whips into the future. This is the build that I've thrown on here. I've been trying both of the stances between Burning Wasp and Coiling Viper. I think I tend to like Coiling Viper a little better, but they're honestly pretty similar. There's not going to be a lot of difference between them. And also, I think I like Coiling Viper because just thematically, I think it fits a little better in terms of like the movement and stuff that you get out of it. So this weapon, its unique move is also its hold right click and stand still move, and it is pretty rad. It is 3 energy waves that are inherently toxin damage that are pretty neat. These have punch through. They don't have infinite punch through, but they will go through any type of environment stuff. And it's like a little finicky. Like you saw how it didn't go all the way through there, but now it'll go all the way across the map. It's a little finicky because it's kind of trying to count like the objects that it hits, it seems like. And then once it reaches It's max payload. It kind of just piddles out and explodes. So it's a little finicky in terms of that, but and also there's certain things right now that seems like a bug that it won't go through. But again, that just seems like a bug, so I'm not really counting it against it. Basically, you build a bunch of combo up, and then you do a bunch of cool energy waves, and you know, do some similar to Excalibur type stuff. I think the moveset looks really cool for this, and this is reasonably effective at killing enemies. And we'll get to the problem after we show off it killing some dudes. Just doing your general whip stuff, you know, building up some combo. Whips are pretty good at building up combo just because like they hit a lot of enemies and tend to be very good about that. And you can see I'm killing some fodder enemies and such here just while I'm doing that. And if we just start launching some of these, one of the problems with the waves is that they sadly do not build combo, so you can't use them for that. That's a bit unfortunate. You can see like the kill time on this is like okay. It's not like I wouldn't call it good enough for Steel Path. And also like these waves don't, you know, they don't inherently proc slash or anything like that. So it's like it's okay. It's fine. They do go like a really good distance. So that's nice. They appear to not want to connect with these mans through this wall. They go a good distance. They can hit a bunch of dudes in a hallway. It's reasonable. Here's the thing that makes the gimmick of this weapon kind of not matter at all. Like, I think that this is really fun. Like, it's a good time. I think it's, like, you know, fun to execute on and all this stuff. But the whip stances kind of just aren't good enough. Like, the rest of the moves you get, especially for building combo and such, just really aren't there. And, like, the top end of what you're getting out of this special combo isn't as good as very simply using this build. This is a heavy attack spam build. You could also build hybrid, but I don't know why you would. The heavy attacks on whips always proc slash, and they're really fast. So you saw us go through with like a very regular build, but if you just do a heavy attacks only build, you're going to see some significant differences with how these enemies, you know, die. See that the slash procs are pretty significant. Like they were talking about, you know, you don't really have to. Like I mean, going through and doing all like the fancy stuff it's neat. Like I like the fancy stuff, right? Like I do like a fancy. But there are simpler solutions to the problems in front of you with this weapon, which is just to use heavy attacks. I actually think that it would have been really neat for this weapon to have a unique whip heavy attack that was like a really large area that still like proc slash. Like if it was like a very big, like wide, very slow sweep that could hit a ton of enemies at once. That would have been like a really cool, like, because you can't really build this way on the other whips that we have. Like you can do it, but it's not even anywhere in the ballpark as good as many other weapons. And this is like more closely resembling other weapons like the Reaper Prime and stuff. It's still not really there. But because of like the much better stats, you're seeing some, you know, huge improvements as compared to other whips. But if this had like, you know, a nice unique heavy attack, or even if the heavy attack like launched a wave that could hit a bunch of dudes and proc that slash and like get all that stuff, there's all these types of different avenues that this weapon could have done to be a lot more relevant. But I think it's fun. It's a good time. And also notable, while you're on this build even, the waves and stuff are still like decent. Like you're still doing okay. Like you're still gonna be able to kill some guys, like especially fodder enemies and such. Like it's just still really reasonable. The multipliers on the waves they're pretty good. So even if you're not building up all the combo and getting all like the benefits from all that stuff, like I mean, this is still like more than like a reasonable thing that you can do. Not a big deal. Like you can still get the gimmick out of this weapon. It's just going to be not centered around it as much as the heavy attacks. And also, like this weapon's another one where I wouldn't tell you to take it to the Steel Path, and certainly not the KORUMM. I guess I wouldn't tell you to take the KORUMM at all. But yeah, that is the KORUMM and the VERDILAC. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. I like these new weapons. I do like them. I think it's fun experimentation on DE's side. I think they did a cool thing. But in the end, I don't think any of the new the new 3 melee weapons that we got here are gonna, you know, they're not gonna break through any ceilings in terms of like new power levels or anything of that nature. But they're fun. I enjoy them. And that's gonna be the video for today. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. With that, it should be Christmas time. So I am going to be putting up all of the free-to-play through archives that I neglected to put up, unfortunately, because I got backlogged with them and they built up and then I just didn't put them out. Every day for until they're all up, you can expect a new free-to-play through archive. For those of you that didn't watch that, there's going to be a whole lot of content, like literally hours of those streams coming up on the channel. So look forward to that. And then, of course, I'm going to have some other videos interspersed with that as well. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Bye.